Hello everyone, Ahmad here. I'm gonna bring you a quick speedrunner opinion of this new 8bitdo Ultimate Bluetooth controller, which I've been using for a few weeks now, and I am extremely pleased about it because I have a massive problem when it comes to different kind of controllers. As you can see, these are all controllers I've been using before in the past, and every single one of them has a problem. Why? Well, let's quickly get into that before we get into the real controller thing. So, 3 different issues I have with these controllers. One of them is poor connector. And usually that happens on my PS4 controller. Everything else is pretty good. I feel like PS4 controller is one of the most stable controllers I've used so far. It doesn't really have any drift issues. Good, decent D-pad. Not the best, but decent. Good responsive buttons, shoulder buttons, triggers. Even the touchpad is really good. I use it all the time. But the micro USB connector here is awful. It just wiggles around and disconnects every now and then, and just... it's not good for me. I don't... That's the only problem I have with the PS4 controller. It's pretty small. It's not the most comfortable in your hands, I guess, but especially for a person who has big hands, so... obviously, that's a major downside of this controller, but overall, it's probably one of the better ones I've used. Now, PS5 controller I purchased the moment they were available, so this is one of the first editions you could purchase back in a few years ago, right when PS5 became first available. In fact, I don't think the console were even available. These controllers came first. Otherwise, this is perfect fit for my hands. Like, this is a massive controller. It's perfect for my big hands. Great buttons, all in all. I'm not a fan of the D-pad. I think the PS4 controller actually had a better D-pad than this. However, this version drifts. I'm not sure that's the case for all of you people out there, but yeah. Apparently, the first edition had some kind of a component issue with the sticks, so it led to drifting. And what do you know? My PS5 controller drifts as well, so great. I can't really use it. And I don't really know how to fix it either. I've been opening a couple of these controllers in the past, but I don't think I want to even bother with it. These sticks are bad and they drift. Both of them actually, which is kind of bad. PS3 controller, loose sticks. That's all I have to say about that. This is a very generic Xbox controller. I think I bought this from like AliExpress or something. Very cheap controller, and surprisingly this has worked pretty well. I think it was like a few years and then it stopped kinda... the buttons are really weird, unresponsive, and loose sticks, and clicky buttons, which feels really uncomfortable to use. Like, it doesn't have really proper feel to it when you press them, despite the click. I love clicky noises, but that's a bit too much. This is a CXT, some kind of a third-party controller I purchased from a big LAN event here in Finland. And to be fair, this has been... it's a wireless controller, so it's pretty small for my hands. But it has been decently good that I've been using it on some casual playthroughs on games. But this is a speedrun perspective video, so we're not going to dwell ourselves into the casual gaming here. So, that said, the 8bitdo Ultimate controller. What is my first opinion about it, rather? I've been using it, like I said, a few weeks, and so far I have only a handful. Is handful a bad thing? I don't know. A handful of bad things to say about it. But mostly really, really good things to say about it, because I'm surprised how good this is. And if it lasts as long as, I don't know, even this one, like few years, that will be worth it. It's like $70. It was like 50 something here on Black Friday sale, which is kind of weird. It just got released and it was on sale already. But yeah, it uses the Xbox layout when it comes to the stick placement and D-pad, which is obviously a bad thing for some, good thing for some. I like it. I actually prefer it this way myself, because I'm usually using... it's a funny fact, by the way. I'm usually using the left stick for even side-scroller games, like Mega Man games, like Mega Man 11, which I speedrun. But because of this recent purchase, I've been using the D-pad because I'm so used to having my thumb here now because I've been using the PS5 controller in the past. So now I'm actually using the D-pad since it's on this position. It has the plus and minus signs, just like in Switch Pro Controller. It has the star button. This is the home button, which lights up when you connect the device to your PC or whatever device you're connecting to. There's a profile button here. There's a 3 LED. I'm not sure you can see it. There's a 3 LEDs here. And when you click this button, it toggles which profile you're using. It uses the Switch button layout, which is really confusing to some people. Not a problem for me, but it can be a really, really weird thing for most people to, especially if you're used to Xbox layout or Xbox buttons. They're not colored either, unless you purchase the wired version. And this is obviously the wireless version, so it uses the Switch buttons here. It has 2 rear battle buttons right here. Very responsive, very clicky. Not too clicky though. You just feel the click very subtly, and you can actually hear it right here. So it's not too intense. Very, very, very comfortable because you can use them. At least I use them with my middle fingers like this, and feels natural. And I don't really press them either when I hold the controller really tightly, so that's good. It has a really nice finish here, like a grip finish on both of these handles, which further improves the grip of the controller. Very comfortable for your hands. It's actually, when you compare these two side to side, the PS5 controller is definitely bigger one, so this would be more comfortable for my hands, even more than this is. But it is still bigger than the PS4 controller, right here. Well, just I guess it's thicker, and that's the main point here. This is a thicker controller than the PS4, which is suitable for my hands here perfectly. And probably the biggest selling point of this controller is these joysticks. These are the Holo Effect joysticks, which theoretically should completely remove the idea of drifting. They were used in the Dreamcast controller back in the day. I don't know why they were removed from modern controllers, but yeah, theoretically they should never drift at all or ever, because there's magnets underneath, which always bounces them back to the default position. It's possible that drifting might still happen, don't get me wrong, but apparently it's a thing that should completely prevent drifting from ever happening again. It has really, like, these are not even clicky shoulder buttons, but they are very responsive. You can feel when they get pushed down, which is really great. And the triggers have already seen some wearing out. Kind of worried that they will not last as long as I would want them to, because I use the triggers for sliding, for example, on some of the Mega Man games I play. So this could be a problem. The buttons also feel, they're really round. They have this rounded finish on the buttons, so that could be a good thing, because for example in this controller, these 2 buttons are rounded, and then these 2 have this little like hole in the middle. And unfortunately, these buttons get stuck underneath the shell because I've been pressing them so hard. Hopefully that's not the case with this, because the buttons are slightly bigger and they're rounded, so maybe it will prevent them from getting stuck underneath the black shell. So far I've been using this on Mega Man 11 and Mega Man Rock and Roll, and then in Neo 2, and also in Dark Souls. So I've been using a few different games. I should still test out like a racing game and a couple of other games, like see how it feels in different kind of like category games, instead of just going with the side-scroller activity all the time. However, since that's my main thing, and I speedrun a lot of Mega Man games, and I've been using all these controllers for the same thing, and even breaking most of them because of the heavy usage, casual play is obviously you know, you pick it up some like an hour for an hour or two, and then you put it down. Speedrunner can run a game for like 4-5+ hours, so obviously controller going to take a lot of beating in the process. So you really have to just make sure the controller lasts. Obviously, you might want to clean it up every now and then, make sure that it's being taken care of and everything works accordingly. But drifting and something like that should eventually happen either way, especially under heavy usage. Hopefully not with this, but with the new Hall Effect joysticks. Other than that, it comes with a charging dock, which is awesome. You can just toss it right there and leave it there. It just disconnects the joystick from the PC, or the controller from the PC, and then it starts to charge. There's actually a light you can see when I click it here. You can see the light coming up, and it starts to charge. That's pretty cool and handy, right? And then you can just pick it up. Your PC instantly picks it up, and as you can see, it's already just connected, and you can see the profile button there in the middle as well. It's currently set to 1. You can use the 8bitdo controller, the Ultimate Controller software, to change the dead zone of all these buttons, your joysticks. You can customize the back pedal buttons to different buttons. Unfortunately, I don't think it's possible to map them on keyboard inputs, which is a real shame because I would want them to add that feature as well. Like when I press the right one or the left one, something would happen on my keyboard. Like let's say I'm pressing a number 2 button with my my back pedal here. That would be awesome, but unfortunately I don't think that's possible with the software. You can change the intensity of the rumble, which is, I think it's really basic rumble. There's not the new feedback one, whatever you call it on this, like PS5 controller has the newer one. That's not in there, but I don't think that's a feature I would care to have either way. Then another thing you should probably know about this entire thing is there's actually a dongle inside this charging dock, which is right here. You can just take it off just like that. It's underneath, perfectly hidden underneath the docking station. And you can just hook this up in any other device. Your Switch, Steam Deck, laptop, whatever. Whichever device actually accepts USB connector or a stick. You should be able to get it there and working, which is obviously awesome. And the USB also make sure that you can just pick it up for easy travels. So it's really a nice feature to have. And obviously you probably don't want to bring the dock with you. It's not an issue, but probably not something you would want to bring with you. They promise like 22-hour playtime with one full charge, so this is pretty long time, and there's really no input lag, what I can tell. And the funny thing is, I started with emulators when I started my Mega Man speedrun career, so I know all about input lags. And all these days, I obviously have all the consoles already, so there's no input lag there. But this is the first time I use a wireless controller, and I was expecting a massive input lag, but there's none. There's none that I can see of or feel, which is really great. Obviously, that would be a major problem these days, but I think the wireless technology has reached a point where there is basically non-existent input. There's some, I know there is, but some it's not noticeable, and you can't really feel it, so that's what matters. There's actually a toggle button here, this one here. It toggles the Bluetooth connector connection, and then there's 2.4 gigahertz wireless connection, in case you want to toggle that. It has to be 2.4 on on PC, Bluetooth for other devices, obviously, or consoles. At least in my experience, I could be wrong. Either way, I have nothing bad to say about this controller in general, except the software could use some minor ads, like the keyboard shortcuts would be nice. But other than that, it has worked well for a few weeks. It charges completely fine. It actually clicks when you toss it here. Just like that. I'm not sure if you actually heard it. Let me move the mic closer. Click. There you go. That's how it works. But yeah, that's about it. Strongly recommend for you to get it if you can. This is only like $70, but you can probably get it for cheaper as well. And so far, out of all these controllers I've ever used, and man, I've used a lot of them, this is the best modern controller I've ever laid my hands on. I can't tell you that it's going to last forever, or even a few months. We're not quite there yet. If you guys want me to have an update on my controller, when and if it breaks, then I can do that as well. However, so far, this is really good. The D-pad is responsive. It's really well done. It's like in this little hole here, a sunken into the controller. I like it. It's close to the SNES one, which makes it even better, in my opinion at least. Like I said, the Xbox layout might actually be something people don't like about the controller, and the Switch buttons as well. But overall, it is definitely worth your money, and I strongly recommend anyone who has a slight interest of getting a new controller, and especially likes the fact that it's a really well-working wireless controller. Definitely get this 8-bit Ultimate Bluetooth controller while you still can. I think a lot of people are getting them these days, so strongly recommend. Get it while you can, and yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.